This is Kardec Radio for Teens.
And now it's time for real life-changing dilemmas from a spiritist perspective. The Diary of Alex with your host, Mark Smith.
Well, hello again and welcome to another edition of the Diary of Alex. And today we are going to talk about the next phase in Alex's life after he leaves his family's plantation to move in with his wife's family, leaving his beloved Malika, who was a slave that came into his family's farm. And we're going to find out now what happened a few months later. Many months later, Alex feels great remorse for having left the farm and his beloved Malika, who was pregnant with their child. And he decides to go back to the farm to find his Malika and ask for her forgiveness. However, life took another turn. When he arrived, Malika had already been living in the spirit world for many months. Alex asked Malika's friends to tell him about her life, separated from him. All of Malika's friends confirmed that she was never the same after he left. Her big brown eyes were covered by a fog of indescribable sadness. She no longer smiled, and she looked like a shadow of herself. No wonder she had died shortly after Alex left. Alex was devastated. At first he couldn't believe it, and then he slowly began to realize that maybe there was a glimmer of hope in that they had a son in spite of all of this tragedy. When Alex thought of his son, all of a sudden he was overcome with joy. Alex then asked Malika's uncle to bring their son to him. Immediately, when he held his son for the first time in his arms, Alex started crying. He saw in the baby a mirror image of his beloved, lovely Malika. Then came another crucial turning point in Alex's life. Malika's uncle asked Alex if he would like to take care of the baby from that moment on. Once again, Alex felt his heart tearing apart. What should he do? Should he nourish his love for Malika through the baby, or should he make his parents happy by not breaking the conventions of the time? Having a baby with a slave out of wedlock was certainly not part of any plan that his family had set for him. Alex decided, after experiencing much conflict, to once again make the decision to follow social conventions. He let go of his son, but there was not a day in his life when he was not overcome by conflict and immense remorse over his decision. Alex passed on to the spirit world once again with that same foggy gaze that Malika had, overcome by sadness and hopelessness. Well, this story tells us something very important about how important it is to feel our emotions and to connect to our hearts before making life-changing decisions. Often we'll prioritize rational decision-making, as Alex did in the 19th century, as we saw here, and in his life during World War II later on. Feeling our feelings may be a lesson that we can learn that will tell us that that's the only way in which we can really fulfill our reincarnatory plan. We see a similar message in Good News, the book that's just been recently translated. And this beautiful description of Jesus's life, which has been psychographed by Chico Xavier, presents. Here we see Jesus, in Good News we can hear Jesus speaking to the doctor of the law, Nicodemus. And Nicodemus presents a dilemma to Jesus, which, while this happened 2,000 years ago, we also might experience this on a daily basis. Nicodemus asks, "Master, I recognize that you're the promised Messiah. So I've studied the law all of my life, but I have one question. How might I be able to reach the kingdom of God?" And Jesus responded serenely and firmly, "Nicodemus, you have forgotten to feel the Scriptures." You see, Jesus here is the greatest psychologist of all times, and he already knew that it takes spiritual and emotional depth and maturity to be able to recognize the will of God, to be able to fulfill the will of God. That it's challenging for all of us to recognize that we're children of God and that we're here to fulfill the loving will of God if we are not feeling that message. And here we see in 2 consecutive reincarnations, Alex developed his rational maturity very well, but he never really allowed himself to feel his feelings and open his heart to be guided by love. So let Alex's experiences in both of these reincarnations that we've talked about serve as teachable moments for all of us, that we're spiritual and emotional beings having a material experience. Let's give ourselves the chance to nourish our souls by reading a brief inspirational message here. And we can do this as we're reading this inspirational message. What I'd like to do is remind ourselves the importance of breathing consciously, deeply, and connecting to the spiritual mentors and our guardian angels. Because I think it's important for all of us to recognize that we're here not just as rational beings who respond to events with our brain power, which is certainly a gift, but we're also here to remind ourselves to feel the beautiful gratitude of being given this reincarnation and the beautiful opportunity it presents. And so this inspirational message is from the inspirational book Child of God, Givaldo Franco, from the Spirit Joanna Giangelis. And this is message number 30, Your Gratitude. There are people who express gratitude in a high-flown style, using moving words to touch every heart. One may think that they're devoted people with a sensitive heart. However, at the slightest turn of fortune, they become depressed and frustrated. Life itself is a celestial hymn, a poem of beauty, a perennial invitation to gratitude. We have more reasons to be thankful than we can ask for. May yours be the silent gratitude that works for the welfare of others. Be devoted to your promises. Give out waves of optimism and hope. Be kind to those who have lost their balance and feel lonely. Offer a silent prayer for those who are sick, disquieted, or those who do not understand you. Persist in your noble actions when others have deserted. Keep a mental state of faith and union with everything and everybody. May attitudes as these be your personal way to express gratitude to God and to life for the honor of knowing who you are and about your presence within the universe. May your gratitude be the love that expands and reaches all who approach you, helping them to experience the joy of living. Isn't that a beautiful message and an important reminder of how important gratitude is for allowing us as incarnated spirits to fulfill our mission on earth, to be able to love and serve others, and ultimately to love ourselves, being grateful for what we have. Being grateful is an important message to remind ourselves this Christmas season when we see perhaps so many people fulfilling material wishes, but not necessarily maybe thinking about their own, what they have already, and how important and grateful they should be for what they have. And so let us now remind ourselves that we can learn a lot from Alex. We can learn a lot from the missed opportunities in his life to act with love, to act with a sense of responsibility to others, a sense of love, a sense of compassion and gratitude for those who helped him and those who cared for him. Let's hope and let's remind ourselves that Alex's story is not over. God is love and kindness, and because of that, he will give many multiple opportunities for Alex to reincarnate, to learn to feel the love of God in his heart. So let's stay tuned for more. Until next week, I'll see you for another edition of the Diary of Alex. Bye for now.
This has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.